the Noah's flood. When Elohim destroyed the earth with water, we are told that everything on the earth was destroyed, save Noah and his family, who were saved through the ark that he was told to build. Now, the question is, Noah's flood, did it cover the face of the globe? Noah's flood, did it cover the face of the globe? This question may sound unintelligent to many because the general belief is that the flood was over all the earth, as was recorded in the scripture. But literally, we are asking, with the knowledge of what the earth is right now, the continents of the world, Africa, America, Canada, Russia, Australia, and all the rest of the other places, were they known then, just the way they are today? So we're treating the question, Noah's flood, did it cover the face of the earth? A religious mind may not ask questions, because sometimes if you ask questions, people will tag you as an unbeliever, and because nobody wants to be called an unbeliever, you swallow your questions. Though your mind, your heart is still asking those questions. Though you're still wondering, but you cannot ask lest you be tagged an unbeliever. But did Noah's flood cover the face of the earth? We read in Genesis chapter 7 how the entire face of the ground was covered and was wiped. Face of the earth in this context means the then known world. Because as at the time of writing this scripture, many parts of the earth were still undiscovered. Many parts of the world were still unknown. Explorers had not even discovered western part of Africa. How would they know that behind the fiery sands of the Sahara, that there are people living there? That you could even also meet an ocean there. So during the time of the flood, the recorded scripture says the face of all the earth. But did it really cover the face of the earth? Let us consider other parts of the scripture where the face of the earth, the whole world, or the whole earth were mentioned. In Genesis chapter 41, verse 56 and 57, we read about the scarcity of food in the land of Egypt, and how the whole people, the whole world came to Egypt to buy food. It is written, the whole people came to Joseph to buy food. Then ask yourself, did people from America come to Egypt to buy food? Did people from Australia come to Egypt to buy food? Did that famine reach Australia? Did it reach China? Did it reach America, Canada, South Africa, West Africa? Of course not. That famine did not reach the whole of the face of the globe. But in writing, they said the whole earth came to Joseph to buy grain. Now let's see Daniel chapter 2, verse 39, where it was written, after you rises up another reign lower than yours, and another third reign of bronze that rules over all the earth. That third reign happened to be the Grecian Empire. In history tells us where the Grecian Empire reached. That was what was regarded as the whole earth then. During the time of the Babylonian Empire, wherever that Nebuchadnezzar ruled was called the whole earth. Let's see Daniel chapter 4, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of all peoples, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be increased to you. This was Nebuchadnezzar writing to all people that dwell upon the whole earth. He was writing to all the people in his empire. But do we see Babylonian empire as the whole earth as it is today? No. Let's look at Luke chapter 2 verse 1. And it came to be in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus for all the world to be registered. All the world here implied the Roman Empire. As far as the Roman Empire reached. Back to our question. Did Noah's flood cover the face of the earth? From all our citations, we now know that all the earth that was implied was the then known world as far as their mind could go, as far as they could see or feel or reach, which could just be around the Mediterranean, the southern part of Africa, the northern part of Africa, around the Middle East, around those areas that they knew. Sometimes, even in this modern world, when rain falls to a vast area at a time, if you call people, if it is raining and you call people in Lagos and ask them, they say it's raining. You call people in Abuja and ask them, say it's raining. Say, the rain has reached all the earth. But that is as we can say. So was it also said during the time of Noah. The flood covered the then known world and couldn't have covered all the globe as we know it literally today. Common sense should also tell us that the size of Noah's ark couldn't have taken all the species of wild animals that we have in all the earth. Couldn't have contained all the species of the wild animals and of the domestic animals, male and female, as we are told he took them into the ark. Considering the measurement that we read, the measurement that was given to him for the ark, it was for his place, the place that they lived around the whole area. The rain, the flood did not go around the whole face of the earth. Geographically speaking, you can also know that it didn't go around. But we have been made to believe the flood was all over the globe at a time, and we have swallowed it like that. But in the minds of people who ask questions, they have been asking, did this really happen? Is it really so? We are bold enough to say it the way it is. Those who wrote all the word that meant all the word as they know. But right now, all the world means more to us than it meant to them. Because right now we know there is America. Right now we know there is North America, Canada. We know there is Russia. We know that there is all these other places that were not known then. So the flood that happened that time couldn't have covered the whole face of the earth. The animals that Noah took in are the ones in their geographical location. He took them, male and female, the wild ones and the domestic ones, in order to preserve them. We remember that after the flood, when Noah and his family were now outside, Elohim promised that he will no longer destroy the earth as they know it with flood again. But in recent times, we have always known that there have been flood in many other parts of the world. Does it mean that Elohim lied? No, he didn't lie. He talked about the place at that time. But floods have been happening in other parts of the world. that didn't experience that flood. So, when we are reading these scriptures, we read books with intelligence. We read in between lines. Even ordinary textbooks, everything is not mentioned. You are left to make use of your understanding as a human being to understand what is said. So when we are reading, it's not as if we're doubting that there was no flood. The flood really occurred. Noah and his family were saved from in that their generation, in their location, in their geographical location. But as it is today, there are people all over the globe, and they begin to think, did this flood reach the whole continents of the world? We are making bold to say it did not reach the whole continents of the world. It only reached the then known world, as far as they could reach. As far as they could reach.